This is my local Starbucks. It's just about a mile from my house, and it's often the first port of call when I set off travelling, so I've got a coffee for the journey. And just opposite the Starbucks is a petrol station. This is where my wife fills her car, or I fill the car for her whenever we do it. It's an EG, Euro Garages, and an EV Point. And we have been here before. Jonas and I came here before Christmas, and we filmed some chargers which were installed here. And we arrived today and they have gone. Wow, this is a bit of a shock. Now, the full story, we came before Christmas and the chargers were here, but this area was totally flooded. It was several inches deep in water, and we were joking about that they hadn't finished it. There were 3 chargers here. They were 180 kilowatt chargers, although the sign says 150 kilowatts. These were 180s, and they were dual bay, so there were 3 chargers, 6 bays, which was good. And then just opposite we have the bobbin mill, and over there we did a video on 4 Osprey chargers, which are also not yet connected. Anyway, when we were here last time, just about a week ago, we went over to the bobbin and they said that the covers had been removed from these chargers over here. They had perforated covers, as shown in the photograph, and those had disappeared, although the chargers were still here. And now we come here this morning and the chargers themselves have now gone. So this is a total shock to the system. We seem to be going backwards in this area. We started with 3 chargers and a flood. We've now got no flood and no chargers. So what on earth is going on? And there's going to be some alternatives here. We don't know for definite. We've got the electrics still here. So the electrics haven't been removed. And of course, before the electrics can be wired in, they have to put in a substation. So there's a substation here, and that's important because someone spent a lot of money here in getting all the power requirements here, even though this one seems to have a broken hinge. Not looking the best, but so we've got power here. So the only thing that we can think of, and I have to thank one of my viewers for this, is that they're not using these chargers anymore. And that ties in with an article I did, a video I did quite a while ago, which said that EV Point has done a deal with Tesla. And they, in the future, will be buying the Tesla V4 superchargers. Well, we actually have a very interesting development. And while I was filming here, and I am quite well known here, first of all, they know me in the garage, and secondly, they definitely know me in the bobbin mill, so I am quite well known here. But while I was here, we had the manager of Starbucks, which is just behind me, come out to see what was happening, what I was filming. And we've just had a really good chat. And it turns out that someone in Buckshaw Village, which is not very far away, maybe 2 miles, 1.5 miles, something like that. And there's a big negative article about this development here. And that article basically says, oh, the council has spent millions on building these EV chargers and now they're removing them. What an absolute waste of council money, etc., etc. And a big negative article. So the manager came out, and she's actually a manager for the EG, the whole group. Starbucks here operates under license to EG. And she came out and she's actually fully up to date on what is actually going on. And it's a fascinating story. So what you heard earlier on from me, I'm going to leave it in because that was my thought at the time. But having just spent about 15 minutes talking to the Starbucks manager, I'm going to bring you up to date with what is actually going on. So back in November, we were here, Jonas and I, and we did some filming. And at the time, it was terrible weather. This was really bad winter. And this corner of the charger location was actually flooded. And we made a bit of a joke about that. Lots of viewers commented about, would you like to stand in a puddle 6 inches deep while you're charging your EV? And we obviously suspected at the time that something would change and they would have to get rid of that. We also commented on the canopies over the chargers, and those canopies were full of holes. They seemed to be more sunshades than rain shades or rain umbrellas. And so we commented on those, what use of canopies with holes in them. Anyway, what it turns out is that when this flooded, it revealed that the people preparing this ground did a very poor job. And what has actually happened is the land has subsided. So the land here that I'm standing on has actually dropped. And that has caused a natural place for water to gather. Now, I heard it was a sinkhole, but there doesn't seem to be any drastic changes. However, they think it was just poor preparation of the land. So at this point, it all goes back to the drawing board. What is going to happen? And there's a number of things that can happen here. First of all, the charges are much needed. A lot of the work has been done. So if all it takes, and I know it's a big job, but if all it takes is to dig this up, prepare it properly, and then relay this, they've got a fully working EV charging station here. And EV Point is one of the stronger of the networks. They are, first of all, priced as 65p, which is a really good rate out in the open. But also they've done a deal with Tesla, as I mentioned earlier on, and they're going to be installing the V4 chargers. So, from what I gather, the first thing is that the chargers have not been removed in order to replace them. They have been removed because there is work needed before they can be used. So priority number one is to get rid of this natural sinking of the land and make it suitable for EV chargers. Now, after that, of course, what could happen is they've decided that, in actual fact, the V4 chargers, which they've done a deal with Tesla for, are better than these. First of all, they are 250 kilowatts as against these 180 shared. Secondly, the Tesla, which inherently are hugely more reliable. So we have a situation now is nobody knows what's actually going on. It would seem unlikely that this is going to be abandoned. There's too much money being spent. There's obviously a need for these chargers. And so number one, that it's going to just abandon the site and waste all the money doesn't seem the most likely. Number two would be if they do dig up the area and prepare it properly and then relay the tarmac and everything and put it back again, then this could actually be a very, very interesting location because it is needed. We've got an EV garage, an EG garage alongside a Starbucks, so this is a popular place. It would make sense to have one here. The question over the chargers is still an open one. They quite happily could bring back the 180 kilowatt chargers. And they have one advantage, and that is that they are dual bay. So 3 chargers can provide 6 charging bays. If they go for the V4s, they are 1-to-1, so each charger has its own bay. So they would either need to install more chargers here, 6 of them in total for the 6 bays, or just accept that they're only going to have 3 and you can only charge 3 cars at a time. So this is a really interesting development, and it shows the beauty of being able to get out on site. It also shows the importance of talking to people while you're there. I get on very well with most people. Certainly over at the Bobbin, they've been very helpful, and EG here has been helpful. The manager at EV Point in Rivington, just about 5 miles from here on the M61. He was really good as well and helped me film the whole of the location. So it's a really important thing that people who are coming out filming should actually talk to someone in authority and see if there are any problems, if there's any advice, any information, or see if it's not possible to video. That was the situation I had at GridServe when I went to their hub. And I went in, found the manager, asked if I could film, and they said no, they have a policy with a publicity department, and I would need to clear it with the publicity department. Now, so many people do just nip in and film, so I asked if I could film anything, and they said, yeah, as long as you film the Tesla chargers, which they have 6 of them there. They said no problem with that at all, but just try and keep away from the actual hub itself. So getting out and talking to people is one of the points of the reasons why I started this channel in the first place, to find out what's going on. Well, thanks very much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please click the like button. And if you would, please subscribe. It makes such a difference to us as a new channel. If you click the bell icon, the notification, you'll be notified the next time we launch a video. And a massive, massive, massive thank you, last but not least, to our Patreon members. This side of the business is growing dramatically. We've had our most successful month ever, and thank you so much for your support for the channel. I'm Dave.